Welcome in, everyone. We have an absolutely wild report to dissect about an alleged Iranian plot to take out President Trump during the campaign. A new book, which is called Revenge, Inside the Story of Trump's Return to Power. I'm reading right here by Alex Isenstadt. If I got his last name wrong, I apologize, Alex, if you're watching this. Axios published some pieces of this book tied to an Iran plot to take out the now sitting president at the time he was campaigning, and the details are absolutely wild. Before we get into any of that, as always, please like and subscribe, comment with your thoughts, and we're just going to jump right into this. So there's long been speculation that Iran has wanted to, has planned, has attempted to take out President Trump in revenge for the targeting and killing of Soleimani in Iraq. Soleimani was believed to possibly be regarded as the second most powerful person in Iran. He ran Iran's elite military groups, and he killed a lot of Americans over the years. He's responsible for a lot of Americans' death. Following the death of a U.S. contractor in Iraq, Trump made the decision to take him out. They blew him up in a drone strike that included Delta Force operators on the ground at the Baghdad airport. And Iran retaliated by lobbing a bunch of missiles at a mostly empty, abandoned base in Iraq that was evacuated ahead of time. Now, Trump recently made some comments about if Iran were to strike, that they would be obliterated. And let's roll that clip, and then we're going to get into this truly crazy report from the book from Axios. Let's play that video right now.
That would be a terrible thing for them to do, not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it.
So there you have the video of President Donald Trump explaining what he will do. He's left instructions behind to essentially wipe Iran out in the event that they do successfully take him out. Fortunately, the Secret Service is all over him now. He has the best protection in the world, which unfortunately was not the case when he survived two previous attempts on his life, including one where he was hit in the ear by a bullet on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. It is a miracle. It is incredible. But let's dive in to this Axios report that came out, I believe, on February 9th. It says exclusive Inside Trump's Iran Fear. This is an excerpt, again, from the book Revenge, the inside story of Trump's return to power. It says, I'm reading directly here, Iran's threat to assassinate Donald Trump during the 2024 campaign was far more serious than publicly known and led to extraordinary precautions by his team that included using a decoy plane to avert a feared attempt on his life. Why it matters. So the upcoming book reveals the depth of U.S. authorities' concerns about an Iranian attack on Trump and how it impacted him. Iran clearly is still on Trump's mind, so it goes back to what he said about he'd obliterate him. And here he goes. Zoom in. For the book, which is set to release March 18th, I was given extensive access to Trump's inner circle during his campaign. Law enforcement officials warned Trump last year that Tehran had placed operatives in the U.S. with access to surface-to-air missiles. Trump's team worried, maybe we should think about locking the border down. Trump's team worried that the Iranians could try to down his easily recognizable personal jet, better known as Trump Force One, as it was taking off or landing. The concerns intensified after a foiled assassination attempt of Trump at his golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida on September 15th. So for those of you who don't remember, Secret Service fired on someone who was staked out at Trump's golf course, and Trump, I believe, was the hole behind. So the advanced team of Secret Service agents encountered the would-be assassin and were able to fire on him. He ran away. They apprehended him shortly after that. So it continues. Iran hasn't been linked to that incident or the shooting in Pennsylvania 2 months earlier in which a bullet nicked Trump's ear. But at one point soon after the Florida incident, this is where it gets good, Trump's security detail was concerned enough about the Iran threat that it had Trump travel to an event on a decoy plane owned by Steve Witkoff. He's a Trump friend and real estate executive who's now Trump's envoy to the Middle East. Buckle up. Much of Trump's staff traveled on Trump Force One that day, infuriating some aides who were worried they'd be collateral damage if the jet were shot down. Now, I have 2 points to make here. I know someone who worked up very, very high in the Bush administration. They actually did, I'm not going to reveal the country, they did something very similar with a decoy plane during a visit to the Middle East with, I'm not going to get into details past that, but this is not a new tactic. Decoy planes are used all the time. A guy I know very, very, very well was on one of the planes where they ended up splitting everyone up, again, out of fear of surface-to-air missiles. It says co-campaign managers Susie Wiles, now White House Chief of Staff, and Chris LaCivita decided to split up. Wiles traveled on Witkoff's plane with Trump, while LaCivita joined staffers on Trump Force One. I'm going to play a video now from the Sean Ryan show that was filmed back in, I think, December. Let me see when it was filmed. This was released at the start of January. This is the Sean Ryan show, Sam Shoemate. This is long before this report from Axios about the book ever comes out. Listen to what he says, Sean Ryan and Sam Shoemate. They're literally talking about how the Iranians have surface-to-air missiles in the country, and Trump was flying on decoy planes. Again, this is more than a month. This is 5 weeks before this report comes out. Let's roll the tape on that right now.
So we now have Iranian missiles. Who knows how many inside the United States?
That is not something you're going to see in a lot of places. I didn't even want to talk about it. It was one of those things where I was just amplifying what he was putting out already, because I was like, man, I don't know about putting this out. But it was something we found was pertinent, because at the time, Trump was still campaigning. He was flying around, and there was the reports were their intent was to take down Trump's airplane. So at the time, Secret Service switched things up a bit, and allegedly, from what I've told, they started flying him around on charters for a while until they could identify and kind of mitigate that threat. But that was the reporting stream that was coming out at the time. Feds handled it, off my plate.
So that is a short clip from the Sean Ryan show, literally discussing weeks ago what we're talking about here. And I actually had reached out to some people when I saw that clip. Nobody really wanted to talk about it or didn't want to say anything. I was never able to get a concrete answer. Obviously here, this report confirms what was said in the Sean Ryan show. And it says campaign leaders tried to assure Trump's aides that they weren't being used as bait. But if the Iranian operatives had access to surface-to-air missiles, several aides wondered, why were they put on board? The flight was a surreal experience with gallows humor galore, 3 aides told the author. This was some serious shit, they said on board when they realized essentially what was going on. It would become known as the ghost flight. But it wasn't just a decoy plane. The Secret Service also organized a decoy motorcade that day with Trump and staffers in a different one. The report later claims that Secret Service warned campaign leaders after a September 18th rally on Long Island they had intelligence someone might be looking to shoot up the motorcade. LaCivita says darkingly joked to Trump's social media guy, Dan Scavino, don't effing hang out the window and take photos because you're an effing target. A week later, during a trip to Pennsylvania, Secret Service agents noticed a drone following Trump's motorcade. Officers in one of the cars opened up the moonroof and shot it with an electromagnetic gun, disabling it. Absolutely incredible. Just absolutely insane stuff going on. And it's crazy that Sean Ryan clip came out 5-6 weeks ago, whatever it was. And at the time, no one really knew if it was real or not. No one knew if it was true. Here we are now, almost to the middle of February, and this incredible amount of detail is coming out that they feared to the extent that the Iranians had weapons in the U.S. to take planes down, that they were putting Trump in fake motorcades, decoy planes. They were shooting drones out of the sky with electromagnetic guns. I mean, this is absolutely wild, wild, wild stuff. And let's be clear about this. If Iran had actually succeeded in doing what they were attempting to do, make no mistake about it, they would be obliterated. Like Trump said, if they successfully took out the president or the former president, leading candidate, whatever you want to say, the response from the United States military would be unlike anything the world has ever seen. You can't allow that to happen. You can't allow another country to take out an American leader. I don't care what party they're a part of. Absolutely not. Absolutely, you can't do it. You would have to respond with so much force and so much might, it would terrify the world for generations to come. So fortunately, Trump now has so much security around him, getting close is not even possible. And this situation, this bombshell report, is a reminder of the stakes of what they're in, what we're in, the threats we face. And you really got to believe the Iranians have to be the stupidest people on the planet if they actually attempted that. Now, I don't think they will because he's the president and they don't want to get, I don't want to say nuked or whatever. I have no idea what would happen to him, but it would be bad. That much I can promise you. It would be very, very, very bad. So fortunately, didn't happen. They were able to stop it. Were able to use decoy measures to make sure it didn't happen. But what an incredibly nuts report. Just wild. Anyways, please let me know in the comments what you think about the entire situation. Like and subscribe and comment below. Let's figure out your thoughts on the whole situation. And as always, I'll see you next time.